DATV and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Peggy Amber, a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I am here today with candidates running for the Vandalia City Commission. The candidates are Amber Aivalotis Weaver, Cindy Doogan, Corey Follick, Jack Herbst, and Constance R. Woods. Mr. Herbst and Miss Woods are not able to participate due to prior commitments. We will start our interviews by giving the candidates 1 minute to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve on the the Vandalia City Commission. So I will start with Miss Doogan.
Okay. I am Cindy Doogan. I've lived in Vandalia for 24 years. We raised our sons here. They both graduated from Vandalia Butler. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in education and an accounting degree. I would like to run for city council because there are some actions that have been taken that I don't agree with. And I would like to get involved in the decision making so that I can help correct or improve those items.
Thank you. Mr. Follick.
All right, good morning. First, I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for allowing us to have this forum to speak to everyone. But as I mentioned, my name is Corey Follick. I'm a lifelong resident of Vandalia, a Butler graduate from 1995. I have just over 25 years of experience in public service with 4 different cities, including the city of Vandalia, where I first started right out of college. I have a degree from both Bowling Green State University and a master's in public administration from the University of Dayton. And I'm currently serve as the chief of police for the city of Englewood. I've been on council for my first term. I'm in the 4th year of my first term. Over the past 15 years, I've volunteered in a number of capacities for the city on planning commission and a couple other committees prior to my council term. And I'm running for a second term primarily because I believe the city has made a lot of progress in the past 3 to 4 years, and we've got a lot of momentum going in the right direction, and I want to continue my commitment to the city to move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Miss Amber Aivalotis Weaver.
Good morning. My name is Amber Aivalotis Weaver, and I am a local mom and wife. I serve on roughly 9 boards and commissions throughout the city. I'm very involved, and I think that I've learned a lot of what the community would like to see in our city. I helped work on the comprehensive plan, which is a goal for the city's next 20 years, just as a resident. And I think that as a community member, I could make a difference in a significant impact in that next 20 years by living here and seeing what our community members do desire and just being a voice and an advocate for them.
Thank you. I will ask each candidate the same question. You will have 2 minutes to speak on that question, and then I will move on to the next candidate and give them 2 minutes to respond. The first question is, what should the city do to address the need for affordable housing for residents in the low income bracket? Mr. Follick, would you please give us a response?
Yes, so this is actually an issue that was identified during the recent comprehensive plan that was completed in 2020 for the city. is the current housing stock in the city. Vandalia has a lot of established and mature neighborhoods, some dating back 60, 70 years post World War II. And I think that the need for a variety of housing, we've got a large quantity of multifamily residential housing options in Vandalia. Again, some of those are aging as well. And I think that's what was identified in the comprehensive plan that City Council is working on, both redevelopment of those areas to make that type of housing more attractable to first-time home buyers, lower income community, that will make those homes that are 60, 70 years old an opportunity for people to relocate to Vandalia and have an opportunity to buy their first home. So working towards programs, we've used CDGB funds in certain areas that qualify to help provide those services to residents to make it more beneficial and attractable to residents that may need some assistance in that area.
Thank you, Mr. Follick. Ms. Doogan, your response, please. The question again is, what should the city do to address the need for affordable housing for residents in lower income brackets?
Well, the city of Vandalia has existing housing for lower income people and seniors also. There's a new community being built now that does both. It's lower income for families and seniors also. Vandalia has a growing senior population, and there is a definite need to consider those things when councils meet, when decisions are made. I think more residential housing would be a good idea just in general, instead of the land all being used for other purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Weaver. Ms. Aivalotis, I'm sorry, I did that wrong, didn't I? Thank you, Ms. Doogan. Ms. Aivalotis Weaver, let me repeat the question. What should the city do to address the need for affordable housing for residents in lower income brackets?
I'm actually glad that you brought that up, because in the school districts, that was actually something that once I got involved in that, I really recognized we have a lot of that need. We have in Vandalia a wide range of families that are low income, high income, and middle income. I think that it would be helpful to recognize where those needs are and then figure out where they're wanting to live and kind of investigate that. I know Ms. Doogan mentioned the older families, and we just became part of the AARP program, and that's very helpful because that can give us some programs and benefits to the aging community. As far as the younger families, I know that there are a lot of benefits. I think we have about 250 homes right now that have some of the benefits that they are able to get into the community and as a rental or homes like that already set up. And I think that we do need to look at being able to make them actual homeowners, and maybe it's just cleaning up the community a little bit in the areas that Mr. Follick mentioned, and making them more appealable and helping to find programs to get them to buy into the community.
Thank you. Mr. Follick, it's the same question. I think I asked those questions. Now I'm done. Let me move on to the second question. And Ms. Doogan, I'm going to ask you this question. What are the biggest challenges to the city?
Right now, it is a lot of truck traffic, a lot of it going through town. There was a presentation made by Mr. Cron not too long ago that showed a truck coming through town every 7 minutes. And I consider that to be too much. It's a safety issue for the city, for the citizens. It's an air pollution problem. Other than that, there's a divisive air among some of the citizens that needs to be addressed and corrected. I think with the proper presentations, the proper literature out, that divisiveness could probably be repaired. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doogan. Same question, Ms. Aivalotis Weaver. What are the biggest challenges to the city?
Right now, there is a big challenge that there's a huge desire for a more walkable, bicycle friendly community, and finding that balance. A few years ago, the city lowered the speed limit in our downtown area in hopes to lower that the trucks going downtown, and I don't know that actually made that happen. So I think developing the downtown area to be more friendly. There was talks of doing something called a road diet to even make it more less friendly for the trucks, so that they would be encouraged to use our highways and the airport access road instead of going through our downtown, so that we could get some more places to eat and places to, just enjoy our downtown, make it vibrant and visit over, the weekends and the evenings, and family friendly, because right now it's not. And if you walk down our downtown, it is not a place where you would just go hang out. And I think that is a challenge for us all right now, where people are looking to, not be in their cars all the time, and they want to be able to walk around their city and do that. So that is part of our comprehensive plan, and we're just trying to make that make those things happen. And so it's trying to do that balance, and that's one of the biggest challenges at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Follick, same question. What are the biggest challenges to the city?
So primarily, I would identify three major challenges that the city has. One is our aging infrastructure. Vandalia, again, was largely developed post-World War II, and we have miles of lateral water mains. We've replaced less than 8% of those. So we are seeing a large need for water utility, sewer utility upgrades on an annual basis. The city, over the past couple of years, has increased our annual expenditures for that purpose, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us to do. Part of that was the very tough decision of raising utility rates to residents that had, in my opinion, been kicked down the road far too long, and we are playing catch up, and we got a lot more work to do. So aging infrastructure, and that also includes our parks and recreation facilities. Again, the city went, post the early 2000s when we wrapped up the recreation center and some other developments. We largely have stopped reinvesting in our parks over the past 20 years, and that is starting to show as well. So council and staff have just recently completed the master plan project for parks and recreation to give us a roadmap for how we reinvest in our park system. We have a great park system, but it needs some attention, and that takes money. Tied with that also is our balancing our development in the city along with our need for income. Income tax is our primary revenue generator for the city. Over 80% of our income tax is paid for by non-residents of Vandalia that work in Vandalia. So we have to be business development friendly because we need more money in the future. Revenue or our expenditures continue to go up, and we have to be able to find the revenues to offset that. And the last thing we want to do is increase taxes. So smart business development is the way that we need to pursue that.
Thank you so much. Um, I have one last question for you all, and we will start with Mr. Follick. What skills and experience will you bring into the office, into the council?
So when I ran 4 years ago, my primary desire or reason for running was I felt that there was a need for new representation on council. We had some long tenured council members that were representing a certain demographic and had been for years. And I felt that I could bring a different perspective to city council as someone who has both worked in city and local government for over 25 years, but also been in the community for my entire life. So I will continue to bring a fresh perspective and a voice of both the experience of public service and working in 4 different cities over my career, how things are done in different areas and how Vandalia can get better at what we already do well. As I mentioned before, the comprehensive plan, the parks master plan, we've got a lot of things on the plate. We are moving the city in a direction where we had not had a lot of progress for the last 10 years or so. We still are financially sound, and that's great, but there's a lot of large investments and improvements that are needed in the next 10, 20 years. And making sure that we set ourselves up and future councils up, because I don't plan to do this forever, to have the resources available to continue to provide the high level of services that our residents have come to enjoy and I think expect, because that's one of the highlights of Vandalia is we have great schools, we have great public services. I feel we have a great local government that responds to our residents, both at the school level and the city level in our neighboring township. And Vandalia and Butler Township are a community that people want to move and live in, and we need to keep that attractable. So I will just continue to devote my energy to bringing about those changes for our future.
Thank you, Mr. Follick. Ms. Aivalotis Weaver, same question. What skills and experience will you bring to the council?
I've been an operations manager for the last 18 years of my family's small business. I currently sit on our city's zoning of appeals board, on the PTA at my niece's school, and daycare board member. I have actually been on the steering committee for the fire department strategic plan. I've learned a lot about our city, and I'm also, like Corey had mentioned, I represent a new demographic. I'm the only person currently on council or running for council that has children in the community right now. And so I think that it's important that someone like me has a voice when we're, a homeowner raising children in the community that are going to be here for the next 20 or 30 years. We have a voice on what's going to happen here over that time period. And so that experience and that lifespan, we're the ones that are going to be experiencing it. And so I think that that's important for us. And just my life, my life is my experience and what I've walked through. And being on all of those boards definitely has given me the experience. I've taken a lot of classes that are required to be on those boards through the Miami Valley Planning Council and different things like that to learn how to make decisions and what's within the laws and things like that. So I hope that I have learned to be a good decision maker and be able to balance things correctly.
Thank you. Ms. Doogan, same question. What skills and experience will you bring to the council?
Well, I have not been on the council, but I go to each council study session and council meetings, listen to the various resolutions, votes that are being done, the work that's being done, watch the planning presentations that have been put on. It's all very interesting to me. My educational background has skills that will help me also. I have a bachelor's degree in English, secondary ed, which not only gives me adequate communication skills, but also has taught me the value of having a community with good schools and the benefits of being able to attract families to those schools. My degree in accounting, which I did for most of my life, nearly 40 years, has enabled me to understand the concepts of income, revenue, expenditures, budgets. The citizens need to know where the money goes and why. I think there needs to be a little more transparency, actually. I'm an empathetic person. I would like to bring empathy to that job. Integrity, I think that's an important item. And I also have children and grandchildren who reside in Vandalia. So it is very important for me to make sure that this is the city that they need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now going to provide each candidate 1 minute for a closing statement. And Ms. Doogan, I'd like to start with you.
Me again? First of all, I'd like to thank you, the League of Women's Voters, for allowing us to have this forum. I think it's very important for the voters to know the issues versus the candidate, who supports their interests and their issues, who has their interests and safety in mind more than anyone else. The safety and happiness of the citizens is a very important objective. Mediocre, vague answers to some of the issues don't really give the voters the information that they need. I will be conscientious, ethical, and trustworthy if I am elected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Follick.
Yes. So just again, thank you for this opportunity. I would just say that as voters learn more about the candidates and go to the polls in November to make these decisions, overall, I would ask them, are they happy with the direction the city is going and where it has come from? We have a lot of things occurring right now, and I think a lot of that is because of actions that council have taken over the past 3 or 4 years and changing the direction that the city was in. And I just want to be able to provide some continued vision and leadership in that area. One of my other goals when I first got on council was to increase communications with residents, and we've done just that. We have reinstated all of our newsletters, our social media apps. I'm very active on social media. We have an app for people to use on their phone where communication with the city has never been better. And I think we've got a lot of other opportunity to pursue in the future. I want to be a part of that.
Thank you so much. Ms. Aivalotis Weaver.
Yeah, so I also want to say thank you. It's always a pleasure to get a chance to be in this forum and talk to you guys and share our thoughts on each thing. But yes, I just want you guys to the community to think over who has been the most transparent, most reachable. I've always been there for each citizen when they have a question. Most people are able to reach me through social media, and I've always been able to, if I don't know an answer, I find out about it. I'm very good at sharing community events and information, and I hope that they consider that when they are reaching out to for the candidate that is the most available to them and able to make good decisions and get them the most honest and truth and behind the rumors and different things like that. So I hope that you think of Amber when you go to vote on November 7th.
Thank you for your participation today, and good luck with your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide will be distributed mid-October in the Dayton Daily News, AIM Media, suburban newspapers, and at local libraries, schools, and businesses. Each early voting for the upcoming election begins October 11th at your Board of Election, or you can actually request an absentee ballot. However you decide to vote, your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. Thank you.